Gentleman for Fairfax, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and ladies and gentlemen of the House, Virginia's solar industry is finally getting some traction, thanks to the leadership of Governor McAuliffe and growing support on both sides of the aisle here in the General Assembly. In fact, as of today, we have about 173 megawatts of installed solar, compared to 18 megawatts when Governor McAuliffe came into office. And there are at least 238 megawatts in additional projects which are planned for this year. And our rankings are starting to improve, Mr. Speaker. One recent ranking had Virginia 20th nationwide on the ease with which certain industries can procure renewable energy. And solar jobs in Virginia are up 65% over last year. But before we get too excited, 65% of a small number is still a small number. We started out awfully low, and we're still way behind our neighbors. But, Mr. Speaker, there is progress in this area. We are finally having some success. But now is surely not the time to take our foot off the accelerator. We have a long way to go. When a new entrepreneur in the private sector is finally having some success, that's hardly the time for the proprietor of that business to coast. What this amendment wants to do is take $1.1 million from DMME's budget, money which would fund a new solar initiative. And this is not just throw money at solar, ladies and gentlemen. The General Assembly, of course, wants to know what DMME will do with that money, and DMME has developed a very specific plan which will address an important gap in our solar strategy here in Virginia. You see, Mr. Speaker, most of our progress has been at the utility scale and mid-level scale in solar. We are still badly lacking and lagging behind others at the small business level. And as we all know, it's the small businesses that drive our economy. It's the small businesses that create jobs. This money would not only help accelerate our solar industry, but it would do it in a way that is very targeted at small business and low-income customers and low-income communities, creating new opportunities for working families in Virginia. I don't want to get too much into the weeds, Mr. Speaker, but let me just explain briefly that this money would fund two low-interest loan programs, a revolving loan program and a loan loss reserve fund. Both would support small-scale projects here in Virginia. What would be called the Distributed Solar Energy Loan Program would make low-interest loans available on a competitive basis and leverage non-state funds. It would specifically target small business. And the Loan Loss Reserve Fund is a very commonly used credit enhancement approach which would help expand and loosen the credit market for small-scale solar projects. Mr. Speaker, this is the wrong way for us to go. This is backwards on solar. We're finally out of the gate. The solar industry believes that with the federal tax credit going away soon, the next couple of years could see significant sales. But small businesses are in need of loan products that can support their growth. Virginia has no program like this, Mr. Speaker, but our neighboring states do. We are just not seen as a player in this industry. And for this relatively small amount of general fund money, in fact, it is within the unappropriated balance, we can see huge dividends for our small businesses, our working families, and to our efforts to diversify our energy portfolio in Virginia. I urge a no vote on this amendment.